Lizzie and the Axe. Crime historians still work to clear the name of Lizzie Borden, long portrayed as the fiendish axe murderer who gave her mother 40 whacks and her father 41. Although Hollywood labelled poor Lizzie a killer and gossips insisted she was a cruel murderess, the 32-year-old spinster was actually acquitted by a jury and lived to a ripe old age, a gentlewoman and a benefactor to animals. But until her death in 1937, she was taunted by one of the most cruel jingles in history. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. In a popular television movie, actress Elizabeth Montgomery portrayed Lizzie as a vicious killer who hacked her parents to death in the nude to avoid getting bloodstains on her dress. But many people believe that Lizzie was really the victim of bungling officials who let the real killer slip through their fingers. Her ordeal began on the morning of the 4th of August, 1892. In the living room of a bleak old house in Fall River, Massachusetts, Lizzie found her father, banker Andrew Borden, with his head beaten to an unrecognizable pulp. He lay on a blood-soaked sofa, where he had apparently been napping when the murderer struck. And in the horror of that discovery, it would be an hour before Lizzie knew that there were other horrors ahead. The young woman's stepmother, Abby Borden, had supposedly been called from the house to the sickbed of a friend, but she had not gone after all. She was on the floor of an upstairs guest room, her skull a mass of blood and splintered bone. Inescapably, the net began to tighten around Lizzie Borden. She told police she had been in the barn looking for fish line sinkers when the killings took place. Bridget Sullivan, the Bordens' hired girl, had been upstairs dozing through the heat of the day. Emma Borden, Lizzie's older sister, had been out of town. And John V. Morse, a visiting uncle, had been out making business calls. Excluding Bridget, whom Lizzie vouched for, that left Lizzie herself. Lizzie Borden was brought to trial in June 1893, and the evidence at first began to stack against her. There had been no love lost between the Borden daughters and their shrewish stepmother, who reputedly nagged at her husband to cut them off without a penny. Nor had there been any show of affection for their father, whose stinginess and domestic tyranny were bywords in Fall River. It was suggested that Lizzie had butchered her parents in an epileptic seizure and had no memories of the crime. But police had unearthed no murder weapon, no witnesses, no shreds of bloody clothing, and the circumstantial evidence was just too flimsy. Acquitted to a chorus of rousing cheers, Lizzie went back to the bleak old house. She was to share with her sister until 1923, when they parted company. There were suspicions about 3 people who had testified against Lizzie, but for reasons never explained, the police failed to reopen the case. As the years passed, the old jingle haunted Lizzie Borden's life, and wax museums continued to cast her as an axe-wielding fiend. Friends deserted her. In her last days, there were no visitors to the Fall River house. She died leaving a fortune to charity, including a $30,000 bequest to the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Gentle in life and forgiving in death, she said nothing about the agonies that she had once suffered.